Yeah, Jahid the real. Somerville the deal. Y'all know we do what. Yeah, Jahid the real. Somerville the deal. Lord forgive him, he rhyme with dark forces. And I'm screaming that he has a righteous cause for sinning. They gon' murder me, that I'ma murder them first. Emergency, got this performing procedure. Say ease up, couldn't save you niggas if he want to. But law gon' make a witness get shoot when the wreck through. Y'all animated to death like you was Shrek too. Rep everywhere that I slept or where I stepped through. This brother moves for Move City. If you ride with a man against me, you lose with it. Wartime, cut the jiggy with y'all ditty that's dead like big niggas. Rap like you Nicky. Talk tough rap, but who is he? A no-name tryna buy profane and veins my man. Go act chill, go act Sam, act shake, shock, creep about me and who I am.
I will say gifted, elevated, lifted, they can never bring me down. That's the realest.
Yeah, the realest shit I ever wrote. Y'all know how we do it. What?
Elevated, lifted, they can never bring me down. That's the realest.
The realest shit I ever wrote.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of reopening the conversation between brothers with your brother Abu Bilal Mujahid. Grateful to be here. I hope everybody enjoyed their family and the time together with their loved ones. I always think that's important, even though I don't indulge in the celebration myself. But I always champion the time spent with your loved ones. I think that's just the beautiful part of any gathering. I don't care what name you put on it, but just the simple fact of family coming together, sharing love, because we not promised tomorrow, let alone another minute. And when your family and your loved ones is gone, it's hard to get that back. You know what I mean? It's a wrap. So I'm glad everybody enjoyed the times with their family. Now it's time to get back to work. Time to lace the boots back up. You know what I mean? Get back in our bags and start to put our feet back on the ground and doing what it is that we need to do to save ourselves, our family, and our children from, the self-annihilation that we are indulging in. First, I want to give a shout out in the sponsorship of A Conversation Between Brothers book that was written by our brother Ahmed Jabal Shabazz, which is up for sale. You know what I mean? So cop the book up and support our sheikh, man. You know what I mean? Because these individuals is fighting for their freedom, and we're gonna get into that in a minute. And to request a copy of the book, email at blackstudy1@gmail.com. That's black, BLACK, study, STUDY, 1@gmail.com. And the shipping and the handling information will be sent to you, and your product will be on the way. Number two, to fully engage with our co-host, which is the Great Panthers organization of SCI Phoenix. They have a link for anyone with any questions, comments, concerns, or just want to engage in further conversation with our co-host Kevin Evans of SCI Phoenix. You reach them at G Panther, that's G as in girl, Panthers, PANTHERS, @yahoo.com. That's how you contact them, and you can engage with them in conversation and seeing what it is that we could come up with to get our loved one home, and see what they are engaging in so we know what to support and what to put our efforts behind. See, this is very important. You know what I mean? Our family members, I know we've been, beat down to a point where we are tired because of on and on struggle of freeing our loved ones, but we have to continue to fight. We have to. And that leads me to this, to the point that our brother will be calling in, and we'll be speaking about The decision of Attorney General Josh Shapiro, our Attorney General of this Pennsylvania state, Mr. Josh Shapiro, it's a bill that's up, or was a commute situation that our brother will be talking about. I'm not that familiar on it because I'm just being put upon it, that he will be talking about as when he call in, and he can give y'all the more in-depth of how they are denying clemency and forgiveness of our loved ones that they want to just die in jail. And this is the point why we got to continue to fight, because they want our loved ones just to continue to die in jail. And just to give you a brief of a synopsis of what's happening, it was a brother by the name of Wham Smith who was just recently released. One of the two individuals that released out of the 14 or 15 that was up. So he denied 13 of them and only released 2 of them. And he said, not long after that event, however, Mr. Shapiro voted against commuting the life without parole sentence of the aged and severely disabled. And shortly after publicly confirmed his opposition to allow people like Mr. Smith and others the opportunity to get out of prison alive. So he denied these individuals to leave out of the prison system alive. And that leads me to, to the youth that's madly blinded by this facade of this street life, this gang thing. You know what I mean? That a lot of they elders that they look up, and me and the brother was just having a conversation prior to me getting on air about how our old heads, some of the old heads nowadays, are some suckers. Because our old heads wasn't the ones. We made a decision to get out there in them streets, and that decision was ours. Once we made that decision, they see that we was firm upon it, then they gave us the game. But they never once put drugs in our hands and say, this is what you're going to do, young boy. Nah. A lot of my old heads from Shelton Avenue was pushing us to become lawyers and doctors and the whole nine. For some of them that might be incarcerated and get shot. They said it jokingly, but at the end of the day, they were telling this ain't the life for you. And that was the game that we got. So once we peeped and we sat, see, we didn't have the technology and a lot of the gadgets that you guys have nowadays. So we was out in the mix. People was going on Shelton Avenue. People was going on around the bodega. Hog spitting and bull crapping while we playing the games, and we just peeping how the track. Yeah, and then we made the decision, this is what we gonna do. And once we got in, they said, this what you is, this, all right, well, here's the game. But nowadays, as my brother would touch on, a lot of the elders that he's running across up in them joints as well is trying to emulate the youngins. So the youngins don't have no guidance. No guidance. And it's a clip that I want to play for my brother, Dr. Amos Wilson, our ancestor. Beautiful brother. If you don't know who he is, he's an author, and he's was an activist on black psychology. My brother, my Sheikh Ahmed Jabal Shabazz had touched on his name within the book Conversation Between Brothers as one of his inspirations of why he continued his education behind the walls. See, my old head do have a degree, a bachelor's degree from Villanova, even though he's serving his 46 years straight inside of a maximum security state penitentiary. Without him, he got that degree, but he's not allowed to utilize that to stop a lot of this crime that's going on. And this is something that Dr. Amos had touched on. It's called Black on Black Violence. It's just a clip from an hour and some odd speech that you can listen to on YouTube. But we're going to play that. Yeah. It's not. Mhm. And what he spoke on while we getting the audio and the clip ready, what he spoke on was the social condition that's the social conditions that generates the black on black violence. For instance, he said that the black on black violence is a significant focal point of today's functional society. Without the black on black violence, society is not functioning because of the amount of wealth that generates from black on black violence. Once again, you got the court system. They got black on black violence situations going on up in there, even when you're dealing with the family court. You know what I mean? That's violence amongst within the household. So they see millions upon millions of dollars with that. You're looking at the prison industrial complex. That's a multi-billion-dollar business that won't be functioning in these counties that's responsible for the economic in these counties that these prisons are located in, that will not be functioning if black on black violence is not popping. All right, you got the hospitals. You got the body organ trafficking. That's all this is due to black on black violence. A brother, Tyrone Muhammad, the mortician from up there, I believe in Chicago or Detroit, I'm not sure. And the brother put it out there. Like, yeah, these individuals, when you lay it out on that hard gurney steel table, they are coming to take your liver, your spleen, your brain, your heart, your, everything that they can recycle to put into another individual. And you're laying in a casket with your body full of newspaper. Okay, and this is some of the things that they profit off of due to black on black violence. You know what I mean? So you got 4 multi-billion-dollar functioning corporations here in this country, from the courts to the jails to the hospitals to the organ trafficking. You know what I mean? Then you have the cheap labor that comes from the jails that function even more lower corporations like Welchers, Victoria's Secret, Home Depot, that get the cheap labor from the inmates. So without black on black violence going on, there's no way that these multi-billion-dollar machines can continue to function at a rapid rate that it is. And the brother hits on that, brilliantly. And I trust a lot of his work because it's thorough study and research.
The YouTube clip, even on YouTube, is not playing the sound.
Okay, don't even sweat it. So what I'm gonna do is, just so that you can hear what the brother is explaining, I can
And we talk so much about our youths until we forget that the youths did not make this world they are in. This world that our youth inhabit today was made by us and made by adults. If we gave them a different world to live in, they would behave differently. But when you make jobs for Koreans and make jobs for every other ethnic group but your own, when you let other ethnic groups ship out all of your wealth, when you let the only growth industry in your community become the selling of crack, then you will be killed by your youth. and you'll be terrorized by your youth. These youth are not crazy. These youth are not unusual. They're responding to economic imperatives. When you've let then another people take every industry and every job, the youth become very creative. And they decide then that they're going to figure out a way to get funds within the community. When you let them be fed these ideas of what it means to be a man or a woman, is as defining themselves in terms of what they wear, buying the most expensive junk and garbage produced by other people. And when you then promote this kind of value system and this kind of behavior system, and yet you will not produce for those appetites and those desires, then they will turn around upon you and eat you alive. It is not unusual. Men have always struggled over scarce resources. And resources have been made scarce in our community. And the only pot of gold has been the selling of drugs. And when you have a gold mine, men will go to war over it. Yes, it's not a mystery. And when they go to war over it, they will shoot and kill, and they will destroy bystanders. Nothing unusual about that. Look at the millions and millions of people who were destroyed. Look at the millions of bystanders who were destroyed as the Europeans struggled over gold, when they struggled over markets, and people who got caught in the crossfires. Yet, you see, if we forget the history of these people, we will be too quick to condemn our youth and forget the role that we play in the life that they lead.
Beautiful. And as the brother was saying something in there about economic imperatives. And this is something that this Saturday at Masjid Allah Center for Human Excellence, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., there will be a Vanguard Committee is hosting its first annual Men's Day dinner for all believing and committed men. So this is a free event, free food, free snacks, free everything. All we asking is that if you are able to, bring a young man with you. Because right here, you're going to have a committee of individuals that's in the community to try to reverse this economic imperative that's going on with our education, with our finances, with our engagement with one another as a community, that's going to be coming together and share some ideas and try to build a unified front to begin to protect our children and our women that are being snatched and being taken advantage of, and beginning to take over the engagement and the outreach with our children. So this will be this Saturday at 2 p.m. Masjid Allah Center of Human Excellence at 7401 Lime Kill Pike in West Oak Lane. Free food, free event, free everything. All we asking is that the men come out and join and enjoy some food with your brother, break bread with your brother, and also let's find some solutions to this problem that we are facing. Again, and that becomes another issue that the brother has spoken about. Dr. Amos Wilson, I want to highlight him because I want to also promote his work along with my sheikhs, Ahmed Jabbar Shabazz work, because they are so synonym. You know what I mean? And our brother had moved on as an ancestor, our Dr. Amos Wilson, but we still have our sheikh, Ahmed Jabbar Shabazz here. writing. He's up SCI Phoenixville, Charles Shepard, AF 9488, I believe. And just give the brother a holler. You know what I mean? And just to know that we support him. And prior to the phone call, pretty much that'll be pretty much it for me. We waiting on the phone call. I want to play another clip of Dr. Amos Wilson speaking on black self-hatred and displaced aggression amongst our youth.
When we talk about self-hatred, we talk about hatred. Hatred is just not an attitude or a feeling. It is a behavioral orientation. Hatred expresses itself through destruction. And of course, that's the signature of hatred. When you see destruction and diminishment and deterioration taking place in human relations and in human life, you can be certain that hatred is existent and operating, even when it parades as love, which it often does. If we say that hatred is counterproductive and against life and is destructive, which it is, and love, of course, enhances life and is about development and growth, then hatred expresses itself in the world through destroying the world, through destroying its environment. Then think a minute. If hatred does that in terms of its environment and in terms of the world, what then must self-hatred do? Hatred does not stop this work simply because it is contained within the personality. It continues. If hatred strikes outside, because that is its nature, then when it is lodged within the personality, it still strikes its host. In other words, then, an individual who is caught up in self-hatred is also caught up in self-destruction. They are simultaneously the same thing. And if you internalize racism, as too many of us have, and we internalize racism from a people who hate, then we come to hate ourselves, then we come to do the work of those people. We actually commit suicide and death in service of whites. If whites wish for us to die and do not wish to kill us directly as they do, we will also help them by engaging in self-hatred activities. And this is what self-hatred is. In other words, we literally make ourselves sick because they want us to be sick. When we take in their attitudes do the work inside of our bodies and inside of our minds. And so when we talk about homicides and murders and so forth, you see then a people who are busy killing themselves in service of the status quo. I often have said in my classes that the reason why black men kill each other so much is because we have not yet decided to kill white men. And that's ultimately what it's about. We have not yet decided to undertake the challenge to overthrow white power. When you talk about racism, and we often talk about racism without talking about the people who perpetrate it and going to the ultimate logical conclusion, which is the annihilation of the people who perpetrated, or at least the neutralization of the people who perpetrated. Of course, we don't want to talk about that too much because it involves concept of war and actual confrontation. But frankly speaking, you can't seriously talk about getting economic control of yourself unless you're ready to go to war with whites. You may as well face that reality. Maybe that's the reason why we've stayed away from economics for so long. But if we don't then deal with economics, then we have to deal with our own self-destruction. If we don't decide to kill the white man by various other ways, we are going to kill ourselves. This is a part of what we call loving the aggressor in a way that's self-destructive. Where the individual, because he is afraid to attack his source of frustration, attacks himself or attacks an innocent target. We then must recognize that we are destroying our lives because we haven't decided this. George Scott, when he was playing the part of Patton, said, it's not so much, in essence, that we are going to die for our country. We are going to make what? The other ones die for it. Okay?
All right. And that's one of the issues. You got so much aggression and anger within the community that we had channel all of that within ourselves. You know what I mean? And this is something that we have to come to grips with as far as a community on how to channel that extra aggression and that extra energy. You know what I mean? And I always think that you can never approach the youth that's on the avenue or on the corner or in the track that's making kind of a living and supporting his means and his self by doing that without bringing something to substitute that. So I can't step to the young youth that's on the block, tell about young and listen, this ain't where it's at. You need to do this, you need to do that. Alhamdulillah, I got a few youths that listened to me and wound up getting jobs and working, and some that, you know, stay focused that are in college playing ball in college but could have, you know, not responded to these recruiting letters and ended up like they homies, either dead or in and out the joint. So I had a discussion with the brother that's throwing this Vanguard Committee dinner for men on Saturday at Masjid Allah, 7401 Lime Kill Pike, free event. And this is something that I was explaining to him as, you know, you want to outreach to the people, you want to outreach to the youth. A nice hit is always good. Coke giveaway, toy giveaway, feeding the homeless, that's a beautiful jab. But what's the right hand that's coming behind that jab? Because after them individuals get that gift and get that coat and eat that grub, they return back to the oppression. So that one hit was a love piece and it uplifted them for that moment. But what's the continuation hit? You know what I mean? And this is something that I want to work on as grassroots, you know, trade schools and economic building for our young youth to learn how to do bartering and consuming and the provider and distribution with individuals that can get product that's legal for them to sell. They can sell their own brand. Some of us individuals have well-known clothing brands. You know, donate some of the clothing to an individual that's hiring youth to learn how to sell and trade within the community. Sunnah style. As the Quran and Sunnah says that the marketplace should be when individuals are out and about, not really in no mall or no store, and the transaction is from hand to hand, so that an individual can trade hand to hand, see eye to eye, in the whole nine like that. And some things ain't always a set price. Some things can be, you know, negotiated and bartered. You know what I mean? And this is some of the things that we want to try to bring back within the community to teach our youth exactly how different ways of earning for themselves. You know, you don't always want them to, you know, these are youth that come to me that's in between a crossroad of either selling drugs or doing something legal. I go to the job, I still got the black supervisor that's even more oppressive than the white one. So that discouraged them of even getting into the job sector, because right now, no matter what they say, these young millennial youth, they have no patience. You drop the ball once on them, they through with it. You know what I mean? So their patience is real low, and we have to be mindful of that. So when we hit, we got to make sure that it's something that's going to benefit them right away if we want to help our young boys out. because it's a situation that got to hit right away. So when we go into them and we tell them, listen, you got to turn the other cheek, you got to do this. Here, come over here. We're going to teach you this. We're going to teach you how to read a blueprint on construction. We're going to teach you how to do the drywalling. We're going to teach you how to do the painting. We're going to teach you how to lay the floors and do the plumbing and do the electricity and all of that, so that you can further learn your skill, and then you could go on to start your own business, to start your own outreach with just a skill that you have. That's wealth, not the money you put up to your ear. The wealth is your trade, what it is that you have. What's a commodity? What's a necessity? Some individuals is good with animals. Then y'all need to get into farming, because the animals need to be catered to and not just put into some freaking machine to get their neck sliced and just let them wiggle on the floor. That's not good meat there. This is why individuals is going to mad, because the meat that you eating came from an animal that was in distress and mad. So that tensity gets into the meat, instead of the animal being calm and soothe and accepting, and then the meat is different. It's a science into everything. So we need farmers, individuals that's into them. You know, you got a lot of jokers that dog fight and handle snakes, and you know what I mean. You got some individuals that's into butchering and doing. We need that, and that's a skill. That's a trade. How to rip the hide off and take the hide within the hide to make the leather and the whole nine twists like that. These are some of the things that our youth need to learn. You know, skill things, barbering, hairstyling, and the whole nine, grooming, tailoring to make the clothes. Individuals who are good with numbers. We were speaking about that at the end of Thor prayer. We were speaking on how individuals, if you win the game, you're dealing with numbers. So you need to be a number guy, you can be an accountant, you can be do the taxes. You know what I mean? So we showing them different things, that skill that you may gain from being in the street, that you can utilize to do something legal and halal for yourself. And this is the kind of leadership and kind of mentorship that needs to take place. And I was telling I'm a Cowboy fan, sad to say it, you know what I mean? But one thing that I took from that Cowboy and Eagle game, it doesn't matter the talent or the skill set of a group of people. Because you had the Cowboys, on paper, they the most skillful players and team constructed. But their leadership is trash. Then you had the Eagles, who had everybody hurt except the owner. And they had a more qualified and more steady leadership that led that group of wounded soldiers over a group of individuals that you would thought would just come in and just ransack. It's all about the leadership, because the team takes on the attitude and the energy of their leader, which is the head coach. And this is the same thing in our community. Our leadership ain't really doing nothing on the ground that they representing to benefit that community. You know, is murders jumping off in your district. You know, is poverty jumping off, individuals trying to find jobs, unemployment is sitting. So what it is out of your resources can you do that allows some kind of uplifting or benefit or help or some kind of assistance? You know what I mean? And I think, one of the best things that I'm trying to put together is what I want to call a Black Bazaar. Like one Saturday, we just get a lot of individuals that's doing self-owned businesses and doing their own trade and bartering, and we just buy rent out. I know Uptown we have the Johnson's Family Center and Daycare that has a huge parking lot right there on the corner of 21st Street, where I want to start my marketplace. Imhotep, right across the street from them, they got a huge piece of parking lot where we could do a Black Bazaar and rely all the Black community, entertainment, all the individuals that got their own business jumping off, to get the tables out there, and individuals that got product and all that to come out, and let's share and let's, share our wealth with each other. Have different food people out there, this so that we can introduce to our community those who are doing businesses and economics for themselves, so that we can support. Because we got to spend our dollar within ourselves. I think I'm gonna put that together, and that sounds like a plan on my end. Can't beat that with a baseball bat. So we're looking to probably put that together. And again, just follow up on a lot of the information that I've given you. Definitely to contact our brother. To contact our brothers up at the greatest SCI Phoenixville Great Panthers organization. To contact them, their contact is an email address, and it's G as in girl, Ford, F-O-R-D, Panthers, Panthers, at yahoo.com. You can contact them for any information on what it is they're trying to do as far as some of the things that they are championing for their release. Again, support by purchasing the book A Conversation Between Brothers, which this podcast is named after and jumped off of, and looking to the actions taken by our Attorney General Josh Shapiro as far as denying the release of elderly and long sentenced inmates, which should have been something that out of the kindness of a heart and just mercy, period. You would think that one would be kind enough to release some of these individuals that have been down for 40, 50 years to be back around their families. Elderly men that's no threat to society by a long shot. That want to, second chance to come home and be with their families and do right. And try to fix and clean up a lot that they took part in of maybe bringing the stain toward. But they want a chance to redeem themselves and seek forgiveness and be amongst their loved ones. And I think that's a fair exchange for those that show that they rehabilitated. You look at brothers like Wallow, you look at brothers that came home from long bids and came off of life sentences, who are home now being fathers and husbands and a benefit to society. So it's not a myth that that's a possibility can happen with a lot of the inmates that are incarcerated unjustly and for too long today. What else? And that's pretty much it. Next week we'll be hitting in more on the subject with this black on black violence with the youth. And we'll be tuning back in. The brothers will be calling back in. They probably wasn't able to get on a phone call tonight. You know how it is up in them joints. They they pretty much have free reign of doing whatever it is that they want as far as allowing inmates to visit with visits and phone calls. So we want to always keep that in mind and keep your family and loved ones in mind. Keep everybody in prayer, and that that I'll be able to come back and see you guys and discuss more with y'all next week. Featured guests coming soon. Again, spread the word. Conversation Between Brothers podcast with your brother Abu Bilal Mujahid, co-host by the Great Panthers organization up SCI Phoenix. And it get greater later. We're gonna have a lot of information for the people. We're gonna be doing a lot of things to bring events and engagement back into the community, so that y'all are aware of what's happening around y'all, what we got going on with the youth, with a lot of the student athletes, some of their progress, so that the community can get behind them and support them on their journey. We just got to bring the community back together, and it takes a nucleus, a hub, to accomplish building unity in such mad times. So again, any questions, any information, send that up to Brother Kev Evans of SCI SCI Phoenix. And your contact is g4panthers@yahoo.com. Again, spread the word, conversation between brothers, podcast on Global Tunes Radio. That's the app. And if you're an iPhone user, it's www.globaltunesradio.com. And you can live stream, and you can join in on the conversation. Pretty soon we'll be having call-ins. Individuals will be able to call in. So we got a lot of good things going on. So again, I'll see you guys next week, every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. If you can make it, if you will be in the Northwest, West Oak Lane area on Saturday, again, a free event, a Men's Day dinner for all men, being hosted by the Vanguard of the Ummah. Free food, free snacks, free giveaways. We just want to provide an atmosphere where we can bring all of us together and just enjoy each other's company as brothers, and share some ideas on what it is that we can do to play our position as the vanguard and the protectors of our community and our women and our children. So again, that's Saturday, 7401 Limekiln Pike, Center for Human Excellence at 2 p.m. Saturday, free food. Come out, bring out your children, and come sit and rap with some of the soldiers and see where it is you can fit in within the outreach. So again, everyone enjoy their night, enjoy their family. Be careful, be vigilant out there. And I say to you all, Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullah.